Hello, friends. Welcome to day 3 of our 6-week meditation series. Today I'm going to take the word path, but I want to begin by saying something very briefly about the potency of taking these words. You might wonder, why spend time on it? Is it worth my time? And I am here to give witness to something that I have found to be true all my life, and that is that our perspectives shape our experience. Our perspectives can change our entire lives. When they change and are more aligned with the truth of our being, our lives change. And part of what I believe our journey or our path is over time to always be on the edge of our own truth. So when people ask me, because I'm a minister and I'm highly trained and been in my field for all my life, they ask me about my beliefs, and I say consistently, I'm on the edge of my own truth, and my beliefs come from what I experience to be true. And why is that so true for me? Because I have seen over and over again that a perspective or a belief, known and unknown, is influencing me, influencing everything inside of me and outside of me. And then I've noticed that when that has shifted, everything within me and outside of me changes as well. The greatest discipline that we can offer ourselves is to care about our perspectives and beliefs and continually be opening to examining them, to allowing them to change, to opening up to the revelation that's there for us in each moment. So that's why I can find it so powerful to take one word and let an entire session be about that word. And today is the word path. I mean, what do you think of with path? Do you consider that you are on a path? And if so, what is that path? I know for me, my path has been unchanging all my life and has changed every moment. And that is that my life is all about being and becoming consciousness. Even when I was a little girl at 5 years old, the illuminative experience I had that broke that open for me, what my life was about and what life in general was about, I used the word God. I had a direct experience that all life is about being and becoming God in God, and that there was no death. Now, I have changed over time, and that word God, while it does encompass what I mean, it does not satisfy my ministry so much because of the limited connotations that go with that. So here I use consciousness, life force, the ineffable, the uncreated. So what do you think of with path? I mean, are you on a spiritual path? And if so, is that completely integrated with what you might call is your personal path or your professional path, your psychological path, your emotional path? How would you describe your path today? I want to invite you in the beginning part of this reflection to close your eyes, because I'm going to read a couple quotes to you that I've curated to be at the service of this topic. So close your eyes and just let them land on you. The first is from Antonio Machado. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. Then we have the Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And then a very powerful woman, Simone de Beauvoir. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. And lastly, Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And just take just a moment there. Each one of those shines a light on what we're talking about as path. And which one of them stirs a little within you? Or maybe they all stir you, but why? How do they speak to your truth about path? Oftentimes we talk about our path in a rather linear way. We talk about it as this progression chronologically. But I believe, and you can test this as true, that really we discover that the path doesn't have a chronological aspect, that maybe we're in this time-space continuum participating in a certain chronology, but as we deepen and mature, we find our paths oftentimes as circular or spiral-like, going deeper and deeper and yet expanding outward and outward, which then takes you out of the whole idea that it's moving towards one end. But can you hold both of those at once? If the moving towards one end is the full realization of yourself, the essence of your being, and as I would say, consciousness, that process, that movement into that moves in circles or spirals, and sometimes moves forward and sometimes moves back, and sometimes moves in all different directions. Does that ring true for you? I remember years ago I was part of a ritual, a spiritual ritual, and it was a big group. It was about 40 people, and we had to go around the circle, and each one had to say what their path was. And I thought about it. And what was true for me, which holds true today, is my path is the pathless path. Everything that I thought was the ground on which I have stood has eventually been destroyed as not being the ultimate ground. I don't belong to a lineage anymore or a community. There are many things that I loved, that I felt a rightness as part of my path, that no longer fit as my path and yet have been a valuable part of my path. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. And the pathless path is for me the being open to the immediacy of the divinity of each moment, which offers me again and again the light needed for my steps, the inspiration for my heart and soul. So how would you describe your path today? So the practice that we're going to enjoy is going to be following the path of the breath and the gaze. Isn't that fun? So our breath has a path, right? Because when we inhale, our body expands and it's accepting air in. So we're not like grasping the air and saying, come on, get inside my body. Though we may feel that way after strenuous exercise. But it follows a path where the air enters and moves within and the body expands. And then in a mysterious way, the body contracts and other air, other constitution of air, right, leaves. And there's this exchange that happens that could be a path of relationship. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to allow the movement of the breath and the movement of your focus form a way that we follow or tend the breath and the focus. So this is going to use another faculty. It's going to use your visualization faculty and your imagination faculty. Because sometimes you might not be able to sense it and you might have to then imagine it, which is no less real. We're going to get into all these faculties in our series, but for now, take it as it is. So we're going to use the senses as well, the visualization, the imagination, and we're going to let the breath and the focus form a path that we both tend and follow. All right, so I invite you to close your eyes and begin by bringing your focus to the breath. And simply enjoy the breath. Notice how your body feels in this dance of air, of exchange, of inhale and exhale and pauses in between. And now after the next exhale, bring your focus to the base of your spine. And on the complete out breath, the focus is there at the base. And as the inhale arises, you're going to let the breath move up the spine. You're visualizing, sensing, imagining, and you're letting the focus follow the breath. Breath is moving up the spine to the crown, and the focus is following it. And you're pausing at the crown. And then the exhale, the breath is moving down the spine back to the base, and the focus follows. Inhaling, rise up the spine with the gaze following. Exhaling, descend down the spine, and the gaze follows. Inhaling, the breath rises. Exhaling, the gaze descends. Inhaling, the breath rises, and the gaze follows like the tail of a kite. The breath is the kite, the gaze is the tail, and then exhale, the kite descends, and what does the tail do? It follows. And inhaling, rise. And exhaling, descend. Inhaling, rise. And exhaling, descend. Inhaling, rise. Exhaling, descend. Continue at your own pace, staying very attentive to this path. Your 10 full breaths all on your own. If you finish before me, then just continue till I finish my 10. And then after the next exhale, come back to the base of the spine and switch the roles on the path. Now the focus is the kite and the breath follows. So pull the gaze up the spine and let the inhale fall like it's just following the gaze all the way to the crown. And then the kite descends and the focus descends and the breath follows. And we continue, the focus rises, the breath follows. The focus descends and the breath follows. The focus rises and the breath follows. The focus descends and the breath follows. Focus rises and the breath follows. The focus descends and the breath follows. Focus rises, the breath follows. Focus descends and the breath follows. Continue at your own pace. Just continue until I say stop. Enjoy the power that you have with being able to focus and pull the breath through the spine. Imagine that the breath is washing the spine, because it is washing the spine. And do 2 more full cycles. And then release the focus and release creating the path with the breath, but keep the eyes closed. I'm going to read these quotes one last time so that they can land on you in a new way. O traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman or a man. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And then when you're ready, bring the palms together in front of the heart and just rub the palms back and forth. This helps you integrate and get grounded. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Have a wonderful day. And just so you know, I am trying to find a very quiet spot to create each of these for you. So when you do hear noise and distraction in the back, it's a little out of my hands and control. But it can be a reminder that life is never pristine. It's always a little messy. Take care, my friend.